Today, I want to talk about uh, the similarities and differences between the Blade Runner and Tron franchises. I want to talk about it. I think there's a lot of similarities. People, especially people that really like the movies, have not picked up on. So, just to start out a little bit, I'm going to read the plots for both films in case anyone's unfamiliar with the stories. I hadn't watched Blade Runner like most of my life up until I was like 17, 18. The new one, Blade Runner 2049, for my 21st birthday when it was in theaters, so that was fun. And then Tron I had seen, Tron I saw when I was a kid. And then Tron Legacy I definitely saw in the theater. That was like one of my favorite movies at the time. I loved the new Tron. I thought it was so cool. Okay, so today we're talking about Tron and Blade Runner, both from 1982, the original films that started both franchises. So, Tron. When talented computer engineer Kevin Flynn finds out that Ed Dillinger, an executive at his company, has been stealing his work, he tries to hack into the system. However, Flynn is transported into the digital world, where he has to face off against Dillinger's computerized likeness, Sark, and the imposing master control program. Aided by Tron and Yori, Flynn becomes a freedom fighter for the oppressed programs of the grid. It's kind of like The Gladiator. I mean, it's that classic story of the hero that is the outsider that comes in and makes the situation better for everybody. It's a solid movie. It suffers a lot from the visuals because it was being very experimental. Effects that they were using, the style of the effects. And yeah, it always was a Disney movie. Some people thought that the new one was bought by Disney, kind of like Star Wars, but it wasn't. It was always Disney. Yeah, that's a good movie. If you like sci-fi, if you like really dorky, kind of nerdy aesthetic type movies, it's a good movie. Almost all of it takes place inside a computer, so that's interesting. If you've never seen it, just check it out. If you have Disney Plus, it's on there. So, and then also the new Tron is on Disney Plus. So, I believe both Blade Runners are on HBO Max. On to Blade Runner. Blade Runner. Deckard is forced by the police boss to continue his old job as replicant hunter. His assignment: eliminate 4 escaped replicants from the colonies who have returned to Earth. Before starting the job, Deckard goes to the Tyrell Corporation and he meets Rachel, a replicant girl he falls in love with. That plot completely leaves out the more, to me and to most people, the more interesting plot, which is about, I always forget the character's name. It's played by Rutger Hauer. He's an android. He's a replicant. That movie was really well known for its practical effects and its use of matte paintings and models and stuff like that to create the cityscapes. And then just for the shots and the way it's directed, it's Ridley Scott, so it's pretty classic Ridley Scott stuff. It's just after Alien, 3 years after Alien. It's the same year as The Thing. So, I mean, if you take The Thing, this, and Tron, it's pretty crazy that all these awesome, or at least interesting sci-fi films were doing so crappy when they came out. It's interesting. There's a lot in that movie that makes it kind of hard to watch. There's a few scenes that are very, very slow. So now we're going to talk about some trivia about Tron. Tron actually was inspired by the game Pong. Traditional Disney animators despised and rejected the film, refusing to work on it because it created new competition for their field. The Academy Awards excluded the film for cheating through visual effects. And that blows my mind. I don't get that. This film inspired John Lasseter to help develop Pixar. According to Wikipedia, I should probably double check these numbers, but according to Wikipedia, it was made with a $17 million budget and brought $50 million at the box office, and it's often considered a flop, but if you do like the traditional numbers, it made its money back 3 times. So, yeah. It's not a flop. By simple word of mouth advertising, Movie fans knew this would be a next phase of modern visual effects, this and Blade Runner. The directors of Lion King, Roger Allers and John Norton, the man who had the idea to dress a warrior in neon, were parts of the team. So, guys that were involved in like super creative movies later on. Lion King was 94, it would have been 12 years after Tron. So that's pretty cool. Now we're going to talk about trivia about Blade Runner. Dustin Hoffman almost played Deckard. If you guys don't know who Dustin Hoffman is, Dustin Hoffman is the guy who played for newer audiences, Mr. Megorium. For a little bit older audiences, he was in Little Big Man and... oh man, there's just so many. Rain Man, The Graduate. He's in a lot of movies. Really awesome, amazing actor. Dustin Hoffman's awesome. Ridley Scott never read the book that Blade Runner is based on, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. I have not read that novel either, so I can't complain about it. Philip K. Dick hated the script, which is a similar situation with The Shining. Yeah, that's true. I wrote all these notes like forever ago, and like I'm just reading them off. So that's funny though. That's just like The Shining, because King hated Kubrick and I'm sorry, lady, I forgot your name, but Kubrick and that one lady's script for The Shining that they ended up using. On September 14th, 2017, Vanity Fair put out a stunning photo album chronicling the inside the making of Blade Runner. The director Ridley Scott insists to this day that Deckard is in fact a replicant. Originally titled Dangerous Days, the name Blade Runner came from Blade Runner by William S. Burroughs. And apparently there is a product placement Blade Runner curse. Yeah, so there's a lot of brands in the film that are featured prominently, but today have been kind of closed down and don't exist anymore. So that's fun. I don't know if that's supposed to be like fun trivia or just depressing. I don't know. That's sad though. But anyway. So, I am familiar with Tron from when I was, I don't know, like probably 10 or so. This is a movie I've seen quite a few times. And it's a movie I really enjoy a lot. Its effects are really bad. That kind of goes without saying. I don't know, it has this kind of charm to it because it's kind of old school 80s, so you know, it has this really interesting, different kind of sci-fi feeling to it because of the effects, because of the way the effects are done, and because they're kind of bad, it gives it this different feeling, this different kind of aesthetic. Oh, the movie's playing in the background, by the way, so if you hear it, it's just the movie, it's okay. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Tron franchise right now, okay? So, right now, the Tron franchise basically is dead. Which is really sad to say, but it's true. Well, the thing that sucks is the Tron movies are really cool. Well, they're really different, and especially the first one is ahead of its time, but I don't know, there's not a terrible amount of interest in the story or the subject matter. So it kind of sucks because that's like what your selling point of your movie is supposed to be, especially in the 80s. So there's 2 Tron films in the Tron franchise, same as Blade Runner. There's 2 Blade Runner films, and I believe Blade Runner has some short films, but Tron has an upcoming film, according to Wikipedia, starring Jared Leto, which would be crazy because we're just going to talk about Blade Runner as well, and directed by Garth Davis, who directed a fantastic film called Apostle with Dan Stevens, which is great. It's supposed to be called Tron Ares. That's going to be part 3 of this franchise, apparently. Okay, Tron does have one short film called Tron the Next Day. It came out in 2011, and it's just like the events right after Tron Legacy. So, Tron had a TV show. It's called Tron Uprising. Yeah, it ran from 2012 to 2013.
And yeah, it was on Disney XD, but now it's on Disney Plus, so you can check that out. That's supposed to be between Tron and Tron Legacy. Okay, so there are a ton of Tron games. There's Tommytronic Tron, or Tomytronic Tron, 1981, which I guess was the year before Tron was released, and then Tron, which is just the game, arcade game, Tron Deadly Discs, Tommy Tutor Tron, Discs of Tron, Tron 2.0, Virtual Magic Kingdom, which I guess had Tron in it, Tron Evolution Battle Grids, and Tron Run/R, which I think is supposed to be like Run Command Run. I think it's at Epcot. The trams that you can take from ride to ride or attraction to attraction. Some of them are painted like the light cycles, the little like light motorcycles. So that's cool. And then there's some books too, and comic books. So the Tron franchise is pretty cool. It's exciting. It's different. If you can kind of open your mind to cheesier, more fun kinds of sci-fi, then check it out. And we're back. We're going to talk about the Blade Runner franchise and just a few things that were kind of few and far between movies. So, the films are going to be Blade Runner, and for whatever reason, I guess there's only two main cuts of Blade Runner, which are going to be the director's cut and the final cut. And then Blade Runner 2049, obviously, is the sequel. Looks like there are 3 short films. 2036 Nexus Dawn came out. All 3 of these came out the same year as 2049. 2048 Nowhere to Run, and then Blade Runner Blackout 2022. And then there's a series, an upcoming anime series that actually looks pretty interesting called Blade Runner Black Lotus. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. And there's a few video games here. Blade Runner 1985, Blade Runner 1997, and Blade Runner Revelations 2018. And then we have a few novels as well in comic books. Blade Runner: A Story of the Future, which came out the same year as the film. That's one of the novels. Second novel, Blade Runner 2, The Edge of Human, 1995. Blade Runner 3, Replicant Night, 1996. And Blade Runner 4, Eye and Talon, came out in 2000. And then a few comic books here. We have a Marvel Comics Super Special, Blade Runner, came out the same year as the film. And then a comics adaptation of the original novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Dust to Dust, came out in 2010, that's another comic. And then the last comic is Blade Runner 2019, came out in 2019. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of media to enjoy from Blade Runner, and I only know of the films, honestly. I have read a little bit about the new anime coming out. That looks interesting, Black Lotus. I've seen some art from the comics that I like. I have not read any of the comics. I've not read any of the books. I think I've seen bits of the shorts. I may have seen like one of the shorts, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's a good universe. It's fun to hang out in. It's got a really good aesthetic. It's really lived in, really grimy, kind of, grim future stuff, which is awesome.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here. I wanted to talk a little bit about Blade Runner 2049 and Tron Legacy, both sequels to 80s cult sci-fi films that kind of didn't do so good at first, but gained a huge, pretty big following years. Director of Blade Runner 2049, Denis Villeneuve, originally wanted David Bowie to play Commander Wallace, which is interesting because that's kind of a David Lynch movie. But he still got Jared Leto, who was a musician, to play Commander Wallace. He was pretty good. Denis Villeneuve also said that making this film was the biggest risk of his life, which is kind of crazy to say, and I don't think it's true anymore because as of now, 2021, he's in the process of finishing up the Dune remake. So I think that's going to be a bigger deal. On to Tron Legacy. It was the most, I guess it still is, I think, the most expensive first endeavor for a filmmaker director at $170 million. For first-time director was Joseph Kosinski. Kosinski was an architect before he directed Tron Legacy. It makes a lot of sense if you think about the visuals, the architecture, and the building, the world building, the effects building, all that stuff in Tron Legacy is really, really freaking good. If you have not seen Tron Legacy, this is a copy. It's really good. It's a cool hologram. But yeah, it's a cool movie. It's exciting. The story's kind of bleh. It's kind of standard reboot sequel story of characters coming back, and not the same story, but a very similar story. The effects are awesome, and I think the biggest takeaway from my generation as far as what people liked about it was Daft Punk. This is where Daft Punk got revived, this movie. And it had nothing to do with the movie, it was just the fact that Daft Punk had a new album out. I mean, it's really all it was. It's crazy. I remember when it came out, my friend Kyle, he loved Daft Punk, and he introduced me to Daft Punk like a year and a half, 2 years before this came out, which was crazy. It was like a time machine thing. I loved listening to Daft Punk, and then I actually knew about them before the movie came out, so I felt really cool. And then yeah, everybody liked Daft Punk after that. And I think everybody has since. I don't think they've really gotten, like, I mean, I'm sure they've fallen off as far as like Billboard charts. The music is awesome. On to this beauty, Blade Runner 2049. This is a movie that I can vividly remember seeing both of these films in the theater, which is cool. Blade Runner 2049 I went to see with my dad for my 21st birthday. That was awesome. Like, I had kind of liked the original Blade Runner, but we were really only going because it was sci-fi, you know? I was never a big fan of Blade Runner, the original. I'm still not a big fan. I don't like it that much. If anyone watches Red Letter Media, I was watching their review of Blade Runner 2049, and Jay, the slimmer bearded guy, he said when he watched this movie, he kind of saw, because he felt the same way I did. Like, he wasn't a fan, understood the significance and the importance of it, because yeah, Blade Runner is a super important movie for effects, cityscapes, sci-fi, horror in some aspects. But I didn't like it personally. I wasn't engaged by the story. I didn't like the characters that much. There wasn't really a hero, you know? There wasn't a Superman, black and white hero, you know? Which not all stories have to have, but it would have been nice in that world to have someone at least that was a little less gray area than Deckard. So yeah, when they made this with Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas and Jared Leto, I loved it. The atmosphere is really good, which goes without saying if you're watching a Villeneuve film. Denis Villeneuve, if he is known for anything, I think it will be the infinite realism he brings to drama, to situations that he puts you through with your characters. It's really, really awesome, because the lenses he uses, or the lenses I guess he has his DP use, just the way he shoots and the performances he gets from his actors. I mean, I've never seen I think I've seen all his American films, and I've never seen a bad Denis Villeneuve film. Yeah, they're all either entertaining or perplexing in an engaging way, or just plain good. You know, I mean, beautifully dramatic in a lot of instances, which is cool. So yeah, I have a lot of nice things to say. The director of Tron Legacy is good too. He went on after that to do a movie called Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and that was solid. That's a good sci-fi movie. That's probably like the better end of what you're gonna get of modern sci-fi, because you're not gonna, you know, that's the closest you're gonna get to like the Andromeda Strain, or like, you know, the original Planet of the Apes or like old sci-fi. You know, that's the closest we're gonna get, I think. Unless we go on streaming services and stuff. So that's a thing. But anyway, so yeah, both directors have made other movies that were good, and I think both movies are better than the originals, which is like crazy to say because it's like these are both like cult classics. How could you say that? But Blade Runner 2049 took this really beautiful world that surrounded this kind of boring, uninteresting story of this guy who may or may not be a replicant. They threw all that out and they said, here's this guy, he is a replicant. Definitely. Oh, maybe he's not. Oh, yes, he definitely is. And yeah, that doesn't matter to him. He's still going to help. He's still going to do the heroic thing and fight the bad guy. It's awesome. It really is cool, and Ryan Gosling is the hero. And the other thing is, too, that they also Red Letter Media review of this. They said, and I thought this too, which was funny, they said that in the original movie, Harrison Ford doesn't do a lot of detective work. He doesn't do a lot of detecting. He uses his computer a lot, and he uses a computer a lot, and then he asks a lot of questions. That's about it. He doesn't like gather evidence or interview witnesses. Like he thinks he gets witnesses, but I don't know. He just kind of seems like dumb when you watch the original Blade Runner. Harrison Ford seems kind of dumb. Yeah, he's dumb, but why do I care? You know, like why do I want to follow this guy? He's not super heroic. You know. So I just felt a lot more of the classic hero's journey and what makes movies awesome in the new one. So yeah, go watch it. If you have HBO Max, I'm almost certain it's on HBO Max. And Tron Legacy is on Disney Plus.